What's going on, everybody? Woodward Bets back in the house. Beer and Scott ready to break everything down on this Thursday. Scott, we got a lot to do here. We're not getting many slow days in the sports calendar. We have, obviously, baseball playoffs. Now we got the wild card games out of the way. A hell of a game last night, so we'll break that down. Also, Thursday night football tonight, a great game. Seattle and the Rams. Really looking forward to that one to kick off Week 5. Of course, all the other NFL news and notes. Scott, how are we doing on this fine Thursday here in Metro Detroit?
Oh man, it's great. Like you said, a lot of stuff going on in the sports world. And I'll tell you, man, I'm just still excited over baseball, playoff baseball, being back with the fans. You know, that little short break we had there without any fans, and then you get to relive it here with the, this playoffs with, every pitch counting. All the fans are on their feet. I just love it, man. It's a great time of the year, and excited to be here talking with all the people about everything that's going on. Good times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you love sports, how do you go wrong right now? I mean, we have NFL as, we're a month in. We have NBA coming up, NHL coming up, college football in full swing, baseball playoffs. I mean, it's just endless here. It's like a cornucopia of sports. So we're going to cover everything here. We're going to do our best. We're going to try to find you some best bets that we like for tonight in MLB and NFL. Scott, we were pretty successful last night with our best bet. So that's the goal. Give out some winners here. So I know you gave out Max Scherzer strikeouts. I was on the under in this game as well as the over on Adam Wainwright strikeouts, who barely got there. It was a small number and not a huge strikeout guy, but nice successful betting evening for us last night.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. I had a feeling, Max, if he got in any kind of trouble, obviously in a game like that, they're going to have a short lease in all the pitchers. So, I mean, a high K prop like that, 7.5, like we were saying, he pretty much had to go at least 5-6 innings to even have a chance at getting there. But yeah, your boy Wainwright, man, he was for a guy his age, 40-some years old. I mean, he still got it. I mean, presser type situation like that. I think he pitched really well. So he shouldn't have any kind of regret or anything like that. He threw a great game, but I was a little worried for you there. I think he was on the on-deck circle. They were talking about pinch hitting him, and they had the guy on first. And if he would have got the second somehow, they probably would have pinch hit your boy. But, hey, that's how it works sometimes. Don't matter how you get there. You got there, and, yeah, that was a good call.
Yeah, sometimes you need a little luck on your side, too. It's a nice balance of skill and luck. And he was in trouble, though. They had that bases loaded, 1 out, and he got that double play ground ball up the middle, which really saved him. That could have turned into an ugly inning. Maybe he doesn't go much deeper in the game after that. So ended up working out. So hopefully we can stay on a roll for you guys. Some housekeeping. First of all, welcome into the show. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Make sure you follow our new Twitter page at Woodward Bets. Really going to try to grow that thing and eventually run some different contests, things like that. We also want your sit-start questions. I know a lot of you out there playing fantasy leagues. Scott and I play in a ton of different leagues. So every Friday, we will cover your sit-start questions, your trade questions. Send those in at Woodward Bets. And lastly, got to thank the new sponsor of the show, Underdog Fantasy. If you have not heard of it, you've probably been living under a rock. Underdog, a ton of fun. Mobile app. You can play on your desktop as well. Do drafts literally in minutes. Football still going on, still big contest. Basketball coming up as well. These are easy, quick drafts, no maintenance required to them. They're what you call a best ball draft. So what we're going to do, we're going to offer you a special offer here. Use promo code WSN. That's going to get you $10 on a $10 deposit. Again, promo code WSN over at Underdog Fantasy. All right, Scott, let's get into things here today. Again, we want to start with, you mentioned it the other day, we're a new branch of Woodward Sports Network, and there's plenty of great shows over on the network. Make sure you guys go and follow the network at Woodward Sports. I mean, they're doing it big, and we're glad to be a part of that. But we want to grow our team. And really, we want to give opportunity to people out there that maybe have not had that opportunity to produce fantasy content, whether it's written, video, whatever it may be. We want to provide that. You guys have seen Detroit Beastie on this show he's a guy that we wanted to give an opportunity to because he's out there grinding, he's out there working, and I love what he's done for the show so far. And you're going to see more and more of him as we go along. And we may even have some three-man booths here on some of the bigger days of sports. But Scott, I think there's so many people out there, and Metro Detroit, sure, that helps if you're in the local area. But even if not, please reach out to us. Please just send a sample of your work, something. It's very tough to get into the fantasy industry sometimes. We want to be that opening for you. We want to be the spot that gives people an opportunity here. So again, follow the page. You can tweet at Woodward Bets, can tweet Scott, or DM him at G_Risen. And same thing for me. DMs are always open at Beer Makers Fan. So Scott, I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people. I hope some people take advantage of this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to working with more up-and-comers and more talented people that are out there that just maybe haven't been heard from yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Detroit's just a great, passionate sports town. So, we've seen it over and over when our teams are really good, that, the following and how everybody just embraces it and gets into it. Fantasy sports haven't been any different either. I mean, it's something that's grown. The industry's grown quite a bit. It's amazing how many times I've been out either, at a local bar or a restaurant, or, I bowl a few times a week. So, I see guys on their phone betting and, doing DFS. It's amazing, how many people actually do play. And, Chris, I know you and I know quite a few of the higher stakes DFS players. And, it's amazing how many people are from Michigan. So Michigan is one of the probably one of the deepest. If we made a DFS team of players and played different states, man, the state of Michigan would be well represented. That's for sure. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we got hockey coming up. We got NBA coming up. And we don't want to put out information that, we're just half-assing or whatever else. I want to get some experts in here. I mean, I don't know that much about hockey. I'm not going to bullshit anybody, even though I have the Isermans. And I mean, I followed all that stuff when it was back when they were winning cups. But, I know enough about the team, who the players are, of course, but, to dive deep and, be able to recognize an edge and maybe a line, or, be able to build some good DFS teams. That's just hasn't been my thing. So, hey, if there's somebody out there that thinks they can help us out, just like Chris said, give us a little chime, send us a DM, whatever it is. We'll get back to you. We're going to answer you. And, we got Beastie, same sort of thing. We ran into him. It's been working out great. We're really excited to have him part of the team. So, yeah, give us a jingle and we'll see what comes of it. And you never know, one day you might be sitting here with Chris and I discussing the day's activities or whatever else is in front of us. You're muted.
Amateur hour here. So I was so excited. I was listening to you talk and getting fired up for people and hit the old mute button and amateur hour. But I was saying there's nothing better than sitting here talking sports. I mean, you still, I'll use the cliche phrase. I still pinch myself that, I get to do this every day. So been a lot of fun, and we're going to continue to grow this thing. A website is coming as well. So again, writers, if you don't want to be a camera, whatever, we got plenty of opportunity. Then we want to provide that opportunity for people. But today, Scott, we want to provide some winners for the people. So first thing, make sure you tune in to our Sunday show. That's going to break down the entire slate, DFS-wise, betting-wise. We're going to identify some of our best bets for the week. Not sure who it's going to be yet. We're going to try to juggle the schedule around a little bit, keep things fresh. But either way, we'll both be providing our best bets and our best DFS picks for the weekend. So make sure you guys come and check that Sunday show out. Scott, let's get into some baseball first. We'll get into football here in a minute, but we saw the wild card games wrap up. So let's talk some baseball here and start to look at some of these matchups and, how we think they're going to play out here real quick. So Final Four in the American League, we have Boston taking on Tampa Bay. We have the White Sox taking on the Astros. And then in the National League, we have the Braves and my Milwaukee Brewers, and then the Giants and the Dodgers. So let's start with the Red Sox. Big win against the rival New York Yankees. Tampa Bay, one of the big favorites to win the World Series. So a tall task here for the Red Sox, Scott. Do they have a shot here? We know the offense is there. Do they have the pitching to compete with the Tampa Bay Rays here?
Yeah, I think they're going to have some luck go their way for them to pull this series out, to be honest. I think the Rays bullpen is just so good. The Rays are really good at matchups. I mean, they have a pretty good, a deep bench that they can bring in different type guys in different situations. Last year we saw Randy Arozarena just come out in the playoffs and just smash the ball. So, I mean, they got a lot. They got speed. They're just a well-rounded, built baseball team that definitely is going to be a force to be reckoned with here. They're kind of like the quiet assassins of baseball. Like they just don't get the press and the pub that everybody else gets, but they just keep on winning games, just keep winning series, keep winning games. So I think the Red Sox are happy they beat the Yankees here and knocked them out. I think that was their pinnacle at this point. I don't think they really expected to get much further, but we'll see. But I think the Rays here. I think Boston might sneak out a game or so. But maybe when Sale pitches, but I think they're going to have a hard time with the rest of with the Rays the rest of the series.
Yeah, I think they maybe win a game, possibly two, but I really see Tampa Bay kind of controlling this series. Would shock me to see Boston do some damage. Again, the pitching is the question mark there. We know they have offense, but Tampa's such a well-rounded team, played well all season long. I expect that to continue here in the playoffs. Let's move on to the other series. In the AL, Scott, this one should be good. The upstart Chicago White Sox, the veteran Houston Astros team that always seems to be there, even through all the scandals, the manager change. They are right back where they should be with all that talent on that roster. So what do you got here? White Sox, Astros. I think the White Sox could be pesky enough to make it a series. I think Houston wins this series. I think this one's going to go a lot further than people realize.
You know what? This one here is interesting. When I was looking at them all the different series, as much as I've been following baseball every day, grinding it every day, playing DFS, I was just kind of looking, like you mentioned, pitching's very, very important here in the playoffs. And actually, Houston has the worst bullpen of the teams in the playoffs from my metrics that I see. So, the White Sox are a young, pesky team. They were hurt quite a bit. They had a lot of injuries throughout the year with Robert, Jimenez. So, they got these guys back. I think, really on both sides of, the White Sox, they got some decent pitching. This series is going to be really tough. This one's hard for me to gauge, actually. I think this one here is this going to be a really good series to watch. I'm not sure really who you're going to get on this one. I think this one could go either way. The Astros, they're another really good team. So, I mean, if I had to lean, I'd probably lean the Astros. But, I don't have any conviction on this one. I think this is a tough one to call.
I just think the pitching is what's going to carry the Astros. Again, the White Sox, some electric young bats in that lineup. They're going to be a team you're going to see a lot here over the next decade. This team's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But a lot of times we see these younger teams, not to say they're just happy to get there, but sometimes it takes a year, 2, 3 to experience what it's like to be in the playoffs, where Houston, they're seasoned. They've been there, done that, and I think that will carry over here. So as much as I'd love to see the upset here, I think the Astros take this one down. Now let's go to the National League here. We'll save my Brewers for last. Let's skip ahead to the Giants. Dodgers here. Dodgers big win last night. I mean, it was looking a little dicey. I mean, 1-1 forever, and then get that walk-off. So the Giants, so it's hard to argue with their success this season. They were outstanding this year. Wire to wire, I think surprised a lot of people, but ended up leading all of Major League Baseball with 107 wins. And the Dodgers right behind them at 106. So, Scott, you could argue the two best teams are matched up here in the opening round. And as a Brewer fan, I'm glad to see these two beat up on each other. And I know you've talked about this. The bracket sets up well for the Brewers or even the Braves if they were to advance here. But how do you think this one plays out? Personally, I think the Giants take this. I think the Dodgers are going to be the heavy betting favorite. They are the big favorite. When you look at all the teams combined, they're like a plus 250 to win the World Series. I think the Giants, home field advantage. We know that can be an advantage for their pitchers. I think they end up taking this thing. I think it goes all 5, but I'm going to go with the Giants here in the upset.
I believe this is the first time the two teams have ever met in a playoff series. So these two being just rivals, of course, this is going to be exciting over there. If you're in California, these two teams, I know they got great fan bases. I'm sure, I'm not sure that any Giant fan was rooting to see the Dodgers get through that game last night. And you mentioned that double play Wainwright got. That was actually on Trey Turner, which was amazing.
Right.
Trey Turner so quick. I couldn't believe he doubled up Trey Turner. So I actually thought when they did that they were going to win, because that's something you just don't generally see. But, man, this series here, I mean, the two bullpens here are actually the two best bullpens ERA-wise in the majors. But you know what? The Giants are built to beat the Dodgers. And, they got a lot of lefties in that bullpen. They've built their team to beat the Dodgers. The Giants are another team like the Rays that play the matchups quite a bit on the offense and the defense. Their manager is really good. So I think you might be right here about the Giants. I think you get really good value on the Giants, who was the best team in baseball win-wise, like you mentioned. So, it's I think you're getting great value if you want to go there. Generally, it's a kind of a known thing, and for us sports bettors that generally these teams out in LA, just because they're so close to Vegas, you generally don't get that great of odds on them. So I think a lot of fans out there, Dodger fans, I think they're all betting on the Dodgers. So I think that has something to do with a little bit of a bump you're getting on the Giants. So I think it's going to be a really good series. I think whoever wins that series may be tired. Hopefully they wear each other out. You're right. I really like the Brewers, the position they're in. Hopefully those two beat each other up, go to 7 games, and maybe the Brewers get through 5. They're sitting there, can readjust their pitching staff. So that's going to have something to do with it as well. So that is why I did bet on the Brewers before the playoffs started at 9-1, kind of just hoping that things fall the right way for the Brew Crew. I was thinking it's possible that the Dodgers would have lost last night to the Cards, but obviously that didn't play out. But this series here, I think it's going to be exciting as can be. I'm sure it's going to be on some later time slots being out there. So like last night, are we going to be staying up to 11:30 to watch these great games, or are we going to wake up in the morning and catch the highlight on Twitter?
Hey, I'm fine staying up. I ain't that damn old yet. I hear a lot of people complain, it goes so late, and I'm up early too. So if you want to watch it, you stay up, you watch it, you sacrifice a little bit of sleep. I can sleep when I'm dead. I can't watch all these playoff series when I'm dead. So I'm taking advantage of it. If you do like the Giants like I do, a plus 130 to win the series on the FanDuel Sportsbook. So again, you're getting pretty good odds. The Dodgers, like you said, tend to be a public team, and the Giants also plus 650. If you just want to pick a winner of the World Series outright right now, they have the 4th highest odds. So I don't hate that number either. I think they have enough. They've been very good at home. In fact, not only the most wins in the league, Scott, most home wins this year as well. So home field can be huge in the playoffs. I think we see that play out here with the series. So let's wrap it up. Atlanta and Milwaukee. You obviously on the Brewers. You put a bet on them. I do what a fan does and put a bet on them before the season even started. So I had some pretty good odds on that thing that I'm hoping cash in. But this series here, they're big favorites. The Braves scare me though. The Braves have enough to really compete in this series. So again, I think Milwaukee, if I had to guess, I think take this one 3-1. But I do think the Braves are going to stick around. If you do like the Braves, plus 120 on the series. Milwaukee's sitting at minus 142, Scott. So again, I know you like the Brewers, but this matchup is a little scary for me here with this Atlanta team playing so well right now.
Yeah, Atlanta's been playing really well. I actually kind of thought they were going to be in trouble as the series went along, or the season went along, when they lost Acuna, and then all of a sudden they go out and make these trades and they bring in the Solers, the Duvals, and I was thinking, wow, well, good for them. They're going after it. But again, the pitching here, I think the starting pitching is where the huge discrepancy is here. Milwaukee's starting pitching is just unbelievable. With Burns and Woodruff, they're going to be really tough to beat, especially in a shorter type series. Milwaukee's bullpen isn't that bad either. So, the Braves, I think they're, Charlie Morton is been pitching well. But, I just think the starting pitching here is going to reign. And the Brewers, they weren't who knocked the Brewers out last year?
So I blocked that from my memory. When my teams get eliminated, it becomes a traumatic event. So I don't even know. Like, who beat Green Bay last year? Who beat Green Bay last year in the NFC Championship? I damn well know the answer, but I'm going to block that out. So same
Understood. I
story.
actually think it was the Dodgers who beat them. Now I think about it, but
It absolutely
yeah,
was.
yeah, I think. I mean, I just think that they're seasoned. I think they've been there. They're a team that's kind of knocked on the door. I think they're close. They're not a young team, so I just thought everything was in line for the Brewers. That's why I went with them. 9-1 odds I got. I'm sure you got a lot heftier odds at the beginning of the season. But yeah, I really like the pitching staff. But I'd really, really feel good about the Brewers if Yelich was Yelich of a couple years ago. But obviously he hasn't been there. But yeah, I really like the Brewers' chance, especially since they don't have to go through either or the Giants or the Dodgers. I think that that's a gift.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned the pitching. That to me, that's playoff baseball. If you can pitch, and these guys can pitch on short rest if need be. I hate the loss of Devin Williams, punching a wall like a moron. Kind of thinned out our bullpen a little bit, but it's still a solid bullpen as well, and enough bats in that lineup. They're not big names, but we can score some runs as well. Home field again there, I think will make sense. So. I'm on the Brewers, of course. Hopefully they advance here. Would love to see. It's always fun to watch you mentioned how fun it is to watch playoff baseball. It's that much more fun when it's your team playing. All them years the Tigers were so good. It was such a fun time experiencing that. I had moved here right around that time. So just soaking all that in, and there's nothing like it. So I think the Tigers, it's not going to be long before they're back, and we're going to be talking about them here in the segment in a couple years. So let's get into a little bit of NFL before we talk tonight's game. Let's go over some of the news here. A couple minor things. Baker Mayfield dealing with a little bit of an injury. So I mentioned I like the under in that game. It's just another reason why I really like that under. He's struggling a little bit. Doesn't seem to have that connection with Odell Beckham. We know they love to run the ball. So maybe there's less on his plate, which tends to be to an under as well. With teams running, they're running the clock. So I really like that play. Jalen Smith, and when he got released, and even when Gilmore got released, as a fan, you're always like, come on, sign with my team. Gilmore ends up getting traded to Carolina. Scott, Jalen Smith coming to Green Bay. We could definitely use the help. I know a lot of people ready to write this kid off, but sure, the struggles have been there, but sometimes a change of scenery can be all it takes. So I'm pretty fired up about this one. Glad to see my Packers making a move here.
Yeah, actually, when I opened up Twitter this morning, one of the first tweets I saw was your evil tweet, with that evil kind of grin face tweet with that you sent out. So I thought, oh, what is he? And I saw
Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought, oh, he's excited about something already this morning. So. Yeah, that's, for a Lions fan, that's not so good. But, definitely for your Packers, definitely made it, a little bit sweeter for you guys here moving forward. That's for sure. And then one other one, too, that, we were mentioning, I guess Calvin Ridley didn't get on the plane to go to London today. So that's another one we're going to have to watch.
Yep. So Calvin Ridley, no Russell Gage again either. So a lot of people are asking, what should I do with Cordero Patterson? Or should I sell high on him? Hell, he may be a 10-target guy here in London, so he's going to have value. This could be the Kyle Pitts game. Zacchaeus is a guy that's on that wide receiver depth chart. So not sure how this is going to play out here, but it's certainly not good for this Atlanta offense and Matt Ryan. So I think another healthy dose of Cordero Patterson and maybe even Mike Davis gets going here. Certainly could be the case here. So any interest in any of these Atlanta guys here, that'll be there's a lot of ways you can play the London game. You have the full week slates on these DFS contests Thursday through Monday. They'll include that game in some slates. The main slates are not going to have that London game just because it locks so early. But, if you want to get it in there, a lot of people may be going after Cordero Patterson. Maybe a decent fade there on that slate.
Yeah, I still can't get over the fact that Cordell Patterson costs more than Calvin Ridley in DFS. I mean, if you would have told me that coming into the season, I would have laughed you. I would have just laughed at you. I would have never imagined that. But, I mean, the guy's getting a lot of looks. Like you said, he probably could get 10 targets this week without Patterson. So, I mean, without Ridley. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, they are playing the Jets, so it could be a slow type game. maybe Mike Davis does get involved a little bit. I think that's probably a good angle, a good game script that might want to look at. But yeah, obviously these are two bad teams, not really good defensively. So we'll see. I'm kind of glad that this game isn't on the main slate, because then I might be tempted to play Sam Darnold against Atlanta. So at least I'm not having to worry about that. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting. I know in some of my waiver pickups, I was able to grab Corey Davis in some, and on some of my Calvin Ridley teams, I'm going to obviously have to use some Corey Davis. So just another plus mark on my stinking roster that I got to fill out. Already been down the Mixons and the Montgomerys, and now I wake up and I don't have any Ridleys. It's like, come on. So,
Hey,
but
at least we had news. At least they told us in advance. That's the good thing.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So
when it's
but
that
yeah,
last minute, like Sunday morning, and you're like, Ridley's not playing, and you're scrambling. At least now you can make some moves, make some trades, and get it all squared away.
Yep, absolutely. So, but yeah, it should be exciting game though over there. At least you get to wake up at 9 a.m. and there'll be a football game on.
So I don't know about exciting, but it will be nice that football's on. So some other news and notes. Christian McCaffrey practiced yesterday, practiced once again here today. So kind of surprising. It sounded like he was going to be out a couple weeks. You're going to get a few weeks of Chuba Hubbard. And, I don't know if he plays this week, but if anything, he's back next week. So certainly something to keep an eye on with him. Melvin Gordon returned to practice today as well. Not a great spot at Pittsburgh, kind of splitting the reps with Javonte Williams there, so not super excited about that. Washington, maybe down some pass catchers. We already know they're going to be without Logan Thomas. Curtis Samuel did not practice today. De'Ami Brown did not practice today. So, Scott, I like Ricky Seals-Jones. I know he's burned us all. I know we've been down this path before, but this guy's minimum price on DraftKings this week.
Man, I love me some cheap tight ends that are min price, because it seems to open up quite a bit for your lineup. So, hey, if you think you can get a min price tight end that might get you 10 points, I think it's an automatic click button. So, if that's the case, and if you feel good about them, you think there's going to be 7 to 8 to 10 targets, by all means, I think that's a play that you should always look at. And hey, this week we're missing a lot of big name type quarterbacks and some big names on this main slate. So I think paying down at tight end is definitely going to be a play this week.
Yeah, no Kelsey. So, if you go cheap, the worry is always like, I got to compete with the Kelsey team. So are you sure you still have Kittle, who I think bounces back this week, Waller, but 93% of the snaps for RSJ last week once Logan Thomas went down. So I really like him. Stick with Washington. Antonio Gibson was limited at today's practice, but that was an upgrade. So hopefully he's good to go. And then Joe Mixon remains sidelined Thursday. And it sounds like, we thought it was going to be P. Ryan, and I mentioned Chris Evans the other day. They came out and said it's going to be a committee if Mixon doesn't go. So I don't know if it's going to be Evans as the pass catcher, P. Ryan as the early downs back is probably how I would see it going, but kind of puts a little bit of a dent in the P. Ryan shine.
Yeah, I think that's just a tough situation to gauge. You got to keep your ear to the ground on that one. I don't even really think the upside's there, so I'm not interested in playing any of that. I'm kind of hoping some others jump on him, but yeah, I'm not interested. I'm even a Mixon owner, like I said. I did not pick up P. Ryan.
Yeah, I stayed away from that one as well. Mixon's going to be back soon. I'm not a big believer in P. Ryan, his talent. To me, he's an average NFL running back, and I know it's volume that gets you there, but good matchup here with Green Bay, but I prefer to go the passing in there. I think Joe Burrow has a big game in this one. So let's talk tonight's game, Scott. We have the Rams and Seattle, a big divisional game here between these two. Big total here in this one as well, 54.5. The Rams wrote -2.5. So a few of the trends going into this game, both teams 2-2 against the spread this season. Obviously, over-under, the Rams 4-0 on the over. Seattle 1-3. Rams 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games with Seattle. The over also 4-1 in the last 5 games in Seattle. So an interesting game here, Scott. Seattle gets a big win on the road in San Francisco last week. The Rams kind of struggle a little bit to get punched in the mouth by Arizona. So Do they respond here? Have to go on the road. Always a tough environment here. We know they're loaded up on offense. So who do you think wins this game? And you have a best bet, or are we saving that for the end of the show?
Well, I think the Rams are gonna roll in here and beat them. I think Seattle's just, they're beat up a little bit. Lockett's hurt. I think I do know it is tough to go into Seattle. Obviously, we know they got the 13th man. They pump that. They're always trying to gauge how much noise is in the stadium and blah 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 blah. But man, I think with a veteran quarterback like what Stafford, they understand this is a division game. This is a game they need to win. I really like the Rams here, so I don't see the Rams losing twice in a row. To me, I'm going to go Rams. I like it here, especially it's under a field goal, so I do like that. The over/under, that's something that I think you could definitely look at the over. You look at the teams, you got Darrell Henderson, he's kind of back. The Rams really haven't shown any type of running game, so. I think it's like an offense that's really literally a funnel. Most teams cannot run on the Rams either. So, I have a hard time. So I don't know if they're going to get Carson going. We'll see. I know Russ was banged up a little bit. I think it's an interesting game. I really like the Rams here. I think the Rams of all the bets are the other better bet, but I got a slight lean to the over.
All right, we may have to slide into each other's DMs here because I like Seattle in this game, and we're never going to be one of those shows that just agree on everything. I love the different viewpoints on things, but I think Seattle wins this game. Yes, you're right about the Rams and losing 2 in a row, but again, this is a tough spot going on the road in the division. I know Chris Carson dealing with a little bit of an injury, but to me, Alex Collins is not that much of a drop-off from Chris Carson. And you mentioned the Rams, very difficult to run on. One of the best teams in the league against the run, but against the pass, sure, you have Jalen Ramsey. I think these receivers can still get loose here. So Seattle 5-0 in their last 5 Thursday night games. So a little nugget there to add on to some of the other trends that we have. And yes, I like the points here, but in the NFL, points don't matter, Scott. So I'm going big. I'm taking the money line here with the Seattle Seahawks as my best bet. Plus 116 right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm going to add another best bet here to the card. I'm going over on Darrell Henderson's rushing yards. As much as I like Seattle to win this game, I think they're so vulnerable against the run. We've seen it week in, week out. They've allowed the most rushing yards in the entire league. Henderson looks good, so I'm going over 66.5 rushing yards on Henderson. So locking in 2 best bets, going against you. So thoughts there. We may have to have a little sideways.
I think we might have to do you want to bet. I think we might have to get each other a little bet. I think I'm up a little bit. I think I'm one up on you from our Michigan-Wisconsin bet. So we'll just leave it at that same, and we'll run this one back. So I get the Rams, and you can take the Seahawks. So I know you're on the money line, but I'll even give you them 2.5 points. So
what a guy. Love it.
Yeah, hey, you are my buddy and all. We don't want to make it that much difficult for you. It is fair. So, but yeah, I like that. It's fun. I'm going to be out with some of the boys tonight enjoying some beers. Might catch that game up on the TV. So, yeah, give me a little fun, little action on the game in between some friends. It's always fun.
Absolutely. Now let's talk some daily fantasy here for tonight, Scott. We got Showdown. Always a fun contest. Should be a fun game. Where are you looking here? Captain, MVP, and any value plays that you've identified here for today?
Well, since I'm on the Rams, I'm probably going to be looking at, on the 2 sites, it's different. Obviously DK, they have a different type setup, more players. You get a pricing difference if you use a player at captain. FanDuel is just more cut and dry. So on FanDuel, I think I would either go with Stafford or a Cooper Kupp as my captain. But on DK, I might look at like a mid receiver, maybe even the tight end over there for the Rams, Cook. So, I think that's the way to go. But when you're building your showdown lineup, always just kind of talk yourself through what you think, how the game will go, what kind of game flow you're going to have, what kind of game script, what you think is going to happen, and then have your team tell that same type story. So Chris likes Seattle to win. So, Chris might have him some Alex Collins in his team, maybe even his captain. He might go with Russ, maybe DK, and throw in a Ram player too. So, I think that's really important to, make sure whatever site you're on. But I do think if you're playing on FanDuel, sometimes it's kind of hard to throw in that, low owned, low price guy just because of, you only got 5 guys, I believe, to make it up. So, yeah, I think with the Rams, like I said, on FanDuel, I'm going Kupp or Stafford, but I might go a little lower end receiver on DK.
Yeah, I really like Robert Woods here, and I'm going to keep pumping this Robert Woods thing until it ends up working out for us. But so much cheaper than Kupp, and a lot of talk that they want to get him more involved. That doesn't always equate to that exactly happening, but 7,600 here on DraftKings tonight. So really like the spot for him. I mentioned Darrell Henderson, a guy I like. So seems counterintuitive. I like Seattle to win the game, but I like a lot of these Rams players. I just think it's going to be a very fantasy-friendly game. I hate talking kickers, but I like Jason Myers in this one. The Rams do a good job of limiting you once you get to the red zone. So as much as I'm expecting Seattle to score, I think they're definitely going to have some drives that end up coming short. So I never use 2 kickers in a showdown lineup, Scott, but I like mixing in at least one of them in some, just guaranteed, generally 7 to 10 points as a floor unless they don't do anything, which is pretty rare. So I do like Alex Collins as well. Going to try to keep an eye on some of the ownership on that one and see where it lands, but I think he could have some value here, even in a tough matchup. So any other plays from the game, anything off the wall, anything crazy that we want to come up with here? I think Travis Homer, for me, is that kind of off the wall play. If Chris Carson is out, I think Homer's going to have some value here. He's only 1,000 on DraftKings in a PPR format. He could be the pass catching back here. So Travis Homer is kind of my off the wall play here for tonight. You got any lower end guys, Scott, you're looking at?
You might be able to look at a guy like, Deshaun Jackson, maybe for the Rams. He's a home run or nothing for the most part. So, obviously the upside's there. If he gets a long bomb pass, I don't mind that. Kind of looking at the tight ends, you got Will Dissly, you got Gerald Everett, who's still out. So Dissly is a guy that could be in play. But some of these low price guys, like I said, Deshaun Jackson's definitely got that upside to hit that home run for you. So I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, and Dissly, a guy a lot of people went to in last week's games in DFS and really did nothing. So he could certainly be an interesting bounce back candidate here. The Rams, sort of about bottom 10 in fantasy points allowed to that position. So I like the Dissly call. We know Russell Wilson loves to use those tight ends, especially if Ramsey's going to lock up a Metcalf, which he hasn't shadowed a lot this year, but he has shadowed Metcalf in the past. That's going to open up Lockett, some of these other guys, Dissly's of the world. So a lot of secondary options here in Seattle could be in play tonight. So, all right, let's give a quick look at week 5 on Sunday, Scott. A fun slate of games here. So just going to go over some top plays for now. Again, we're going to go a lot more in depth on this on the Sunday show and really dig into all these games here. But let's just go over a quick top couple plays at each position here. So let's start at the quarterback position. I'll let you open things up here.
Yeah, quarterback. For me, I just been really of the mindset I need to have a quarterback that has a great opportunity to rush one in. It's almost like you got 2 type players, running back and type quarterback. And this week, my top 3 list really reflects that. So I got Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and Dak Prescott are 3 guys that I'm really looking at. I just think here, Kyler Murray, he's just been a video game type player. And with some of the high-end quarterbacks that are off the slate, I think Murray does stand out a little bit, especially with his rushing upside, which I think is always going to be in play. And then, Josh Allen, I just think the Buffalo is shown to be, I know that game's at 8:20 on Sunday, but if you do play the whole slate, and even when we get to it, I just think Josh Allen's in a great spot against the Chiefs. So I like Josh Allen. I know a lot of people may not play the whole weekly slate, but it is on some of the Sunday all-day slates. But I do like Allen here. And then another guy that I'm looking at is Dak Prescott in that Giant game. That game bumped up, as we saw. It went up 2.5, 3 points from the under. So with some early betting. So the sharps are on thinking this game's going to be high scoring. I think Prescott and the Giants could keep up. So I think Prescott is in a great position this week.
All right, I'm going to give you some value guys that I like in DFS this week. I really like Daniel Jones again this week. It's always going to be a roller coaster with this guy, but has been fantastic in his 2 road games. Dallas has really surrendered a lot of yards and fantasy points to the quarterback position, so I like him. We get Trey Lance entering our world here against Arizona. I think he's going to do great. We saw what he could do in a half. Arizona's going to score points. We see that it's pretty much 30 every single week. Really going to force San Francisco to score some points, and he can do it with his legs, has plenty of weapons there in Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. Hopefully Brandon Ayuk can get going, so really like him as well. And third guy, it's hard to argue with what Jalen Hurts has done here. So, Scott, I love the guys that you brought to the table. No issues with any of them. Hurts has been, like you said, a video game in his own right. Maybe Kyler Murray light. The numbers just continue to be there. A tough matchup with Carolina, but these guys are going to put up fantasy points for you each and every week. So love these dual threat quarterbacks. So for me, again, Daniel Jones, Trey Lance, and Jalen Hurts. All right, top 3 running backs for you, Scott. What do you got here for week 5?
We can never overlook Mr. Derrick Henry against the Jacksonville Jags. So I think that's going to be the question to Henry, or not to Henry, this week on your DFS lineups. Obviously, he's the most expensive player, and rightfully so. But the question is, are the struggling Titans going to get up on Jacksonville enough to where, Henry doesn't get any more run in the second half? McNichols comes in. But, I think this game here is definitely going to favor Tennessee against a Jacksonville team with all the turmoil and crap they had in the news this week about their silly head coach. So I could see Henry just running over on them just time and time again. And then Dalvin Cook, I'm going to be interested to see if Dalvin Cook, as the next day or two goes on, to see what kind of practice reps he's getting in. But, man, we got the Lions who've been just terrible against running backs. So I like some Dalvin Cook if he's going to play. And then, obviously, Alvin Kamara. He's another guy. He's on pace just to get a career high in touches. I think against this Washington team with that type pass rush, I think they're going to have to dump it off quite a bit to him, some screens and stuff like that. So I really like Kamara in that matchup as well. So, looking forward to watching Henry and Dalvin Cook. I think Cook is going to – we've seen it time and time again against the Lions. You close your eyes and vision it, and then when you start watching the game, you're like, there he goes again. So I think Dalvin Cook is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love Dalvin if he plays this week. 5 touchdowns in his last 3 games against the Lions. Went over 200 yards in that last game last season. So – kind of that, it seems like, a little PTSD there from Dalvin Cook as a Lions fan. So love the spot for him, even if it's Alexander Madison. I don't mind going there. So I'll include him in my top 3. Can't argue with Derrick Henry. I just want to give some different names. Love the spot here for Saquon Barkley against Dallas. So it scares me again. I'm giving out too many Giants. We went through this once already, but Dallas does struggle with pass-catching running backs and give up a ton of receptions, targets to that position. So Giants down some weapons. I think Barkley would be a big-time weapon in the receiving game. And I love Leonard Fournette here this week, Scott. A 10-point home favorite. Miami's been terrible against running backs, pretty much surrendering big games every single week. I think Leonard Fournette has kind of seized control of this backfield. And if Gio Bernard is out, really, really love the spot for Leonard Fournette. So a little bit more of a value play in DFS. So, Scott, wide receivers, let's finish it up. Top 3 plays here for week 5.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in that Minnesota game. I like Justin Jefferson to eat up the Lions and get ahead on the scoreboard and then let that running back bring it home. So I like Justin Jefferson, especially with that secondary being as beat up as it is for the Lions. I think the Vikings are going to put up close to 40 points on the Lions. So with that in mind, I definitely like Jefferson. Deebo Samuel, as you mentioned over there in San Fran, he's quietly becoming one of the top receivers in football. And I don't know, other than people that are deep diving every week like you and I don't know if everybody's quite aware of what he's got going on over there. So I definitely like some Deebo Samuel, especially in that game. And CeeDee Lamb is an interesting one that I'm going to be looking at pairing with Dak Prescott in that Giant game.
There you go. I'm going to go to the high end here with Devonte Adams in a smash spot here against Cincinnati. No Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Randall Cobb is not going to catch 2 touchdowns every week. So I think Adams is just going to have a massive game here against the Bengals. DeAndre Hopkins, another guy I'm expecting to bounce back. So nice correlation there. If you play some Trey Lance on the other side, you run it back with DeAndre Hopkins. So another guy I really like. And DJ Moore has been fantastic this year. I know the prices are up in DFS, but this guy's going to continue to get targets here. I'm not a Darius Slay believer. I think he can slay this defense. I think DJ Moore has a big game. So those are top 3 receivers for me. So, Scott, let's give a quick prediction here on the Lions and Minnesota game. I know you said Minnesota's going to score 40. Does that mean Detroit's going to score 45? Are they going to score in the 30s, or is this just going to be a total blowout here?
Yeah, I think the Lions are in over their head here with the Vikings. I got the game at 38-20 for the Vikings. So not quite 40, but just close enough. But, yeah, I got them for 5 touchdowns and a field goal. So I do like – that's why I said I like Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. Yeah, I think the Lions are in for a tough spot here, but I got it 38-20.
All right, I'm going 31-10. I'm kind of in the same boat here. I think Minnesota can control this game. I really like their defense this week and can cause a lot of pressure. And we saw the Lions struggle with that last week with Chicago. So I think there could be some turnovers. I think they're going to be able to control the game on the ground. So I don't think it's going to be as high scoring just because they're not going to have to put up points. And we know Detroit's offense is probably going to struggle in this spot. So as far as bets go, I like Minnesota here and have a little bit of a lean on the under there as well. So that will wrap us up for today's show. Remember, head over to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code WSN, as in Woodward Sports Network, for a free $10 on a $10 deposit. Great way to support our show. Make sure you come and check out the show every single day. We're 7 days a week, so 6 to 7 during the week. We have our Saturday College Football Spectacular and, of course, our Sunday NFL shows as well. Make sure you follow us on Twitter as well, at Woodward Bets, and get your sit-start questions in for Friday, your trade questions, dynasty, whatever it may be. I promise you I play in a league similar to what you play in. So you have any questions at all, we'll want to be here to help you guys. So, Scott, final thoughts for the people here on this fine Thursday evening.
Just looking forward to that Thursday night football game tonight. Should be an interesting game, and gonna be excited here to get up tomorrow. Like you mentioned, we got an early baseball game we're gonna be able to watch. So great time of the year, exciting, and I think I'm gonna have to take my fat butt out to one of these apple orchards and get me some of them nice warm donuts here for this weekend's game, and maybe a little jug of some cider. So. Might have to melt in the couch with a belly full of donuts and some apple cider. I think that might be the plan.
Sounds like a damn good day to me. Nothing better than those hot, fresh donuts. So you're talking my language now. Just besides the sports, the donuts might be like right there, next on the important list. So, well, we want to thank everybody for checking out the show. Again, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you to Sawyer behind the glass for producing, as always, and thank you to Underdog Fantasy for supporting the show. For Scott, I am Beer saying salut. We are Woodward Bets. Thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.